Have you ever been to a psychic or a medium to have your cards read? Or do you feel like that would be a good thing to do? Well, this is what we're going to discuss in this episode of Shifting Realities. Good morning, I'm your host, Julie Allison, and with me is my co host and friend, Robert Perry.
Good morning.
So, in this episode, we're going to discuss what it means to go to a psychic or a medium or a fortune teller, as we used to call it, and actually just explain a little bit about what happens. Rob and I, are never here to call anybody out and say, oh, you mustn't go to a psychic because it's very disempowering. But it's just what we're going to talk about here is your perspective on the tarot reading, on a reading, and somebody else telling you what's happening and what will happen in the future and what's happened in the past with your life. So remember here, Rob and I are all about you being empowered, you using your own intuition, but also sometimes me and Rob are alike, we might need to go to somebody else just to get some information because we are so involved in our own lives. We might have a block and we don't know, what to do about it. So we are all for somebody else helping you out of that block. But what we're going to discuss today is I hear so many people saying to me, a psychic told me. I went to a fortune teller and they told me my life would be like this in the future. So we're going to air this out a little bit. Do you want to say something first, Rob, about this?
Well, I'll answer your question that you posed at the beginning, and the answer is
Mm.
yes, I have absolutely been to
Yes.
both. I've had one or two experiences with mediums,
Mm.
and they have been frankly pointless. So
Yes.
I've probably just had bad luck. I've had my cards read, and as you know, and I think people who watch this channel probably know, I read tarot.
Mm. Mm.
Less these days than I used to, but I still read tarot. That's how I sort of really got into this business. And for me, what's really important when you're doing something like this, and you can apply this to any psychic activity. So let's just use tarot for now. It's for me symbiotic in that you come to me for a reading, and old school tarot would dictate that you sat across and I would just pronounce,
Mm.
and you wouldn't really question too much. You just, either get a shock or be thrilled by what I told you, and you'd go away and mull on it, I hope. For me, it's got to be a two-way conversation. It's a shared energy that we need to have, because all I can do is use my superconscious to tap into your superconscious to read potential realities. We all have multiple realities, and we choose the one we want to live at any time, or we select a new one if we want to change. People coming for a psychic reading of some sort normally are looking to change.
Yes.
They might not know it,
Absolutely.
but that's what they're after, some news that says things are going to get better, generally speaking.
Yeah. They're looking for a
So
solution, aren't they, Rob? You said
yeah,
it before.
totally
They're
looking
looking
for a
for a
solution.
solution, looking for some reason to what's happened, and that
Absolutely.
there must be something I can do, must be a
Yeah,
solution.
totally.
At
So
least
if
they
you come
become
to me
vulnerable. Mm.
and I'm going to read for you, I would be absolutely inauthentic if I just gave you a string of things that I'm seeing in the cards,
Mm.
because they may happen, they may not happen. But if you work with me, we'll find out what your best energy interest is and where you should put that energy to make the changes that will benefit you. So it really is about finding the best for you right now and helping you on your path. It's absolutely useless, though, if you go and have a reading like this and say you have a good reading, that you don't act on it.
Mm.
Yeah, it's not any use to go and get a reading that tells you X, Y, and Z, and then you go home and go, well, it said X, Y, and Z. Where is it then?
Mm. Yes.
Yeah,
Where's
the
my
work
stuff?
the work has still to be done.
Yeah.
It's not a quick fix. We are reading your energy. We're not changing your energy for you.
Yes.
Only you could do that. So, have you had any experiences, Julie?
Well, well, in terms of experiences, I often get people saying, "Oh, could you do a reading for me?" And I'll say, "Okay."
Mhm.
What is it you're needing it for? What focus would you like to pay your attention on? And the guides will help us prioritize that focus. So say, for instance, you've had some bad relationships and you want to look for another, I want to see if I'm going to meet. I want Julie to tell me I want to meet my tall, dark, handsome stranger, beautiful man who's rich and whatever else. But what if, and I could say that because once you've put that thought out there, it's already in existence anyway. So yes, you could maybe meet a tall, dark, handsome stranger because you've put that out there. There's a version of you with that stranger. But what if also there's a version of you and I see it with, I don't know, a short, fat, blonde, blue-eyed person as well, and that would actually be in the realm of somebody contracted with you to make you happy, and the tall, dark, handsome stranger is there to show you the chaos and your vulnerable side, and to open up lessons for you to come out of that reality that that really it's not something you did want but you thought you did. So can you see how you could do that anyway without even going to a card reader? That could happen anyway. You can have
Mhm.
a series of relationships that actually give you the lesson of, this is not what I want. I don't want this reality. I need to do some shifts in myself first. That's what the lessons are. Um, because you're just attracting, you might be attracting a tall, dark, handsome stranger, but one that isn't giving you the love that you're requiring inside. And know that the only person that is loving you is yourself, and that then magnetize out is outside. Magnetize
Yeah,
is from the outside world. It's a reflection.
yeah.
So that's
It's a
what I've had. Yeah, I've had people
yeah,
with no focus whatsoever.
yeah,
It's been
yeah,
vulnerable. It feels so disempowering. And so I'll refuse just to do something like that, because here am I going, but you could have, 1,000 versions of you meeting somebody else. Which version of you, 1,000 or more, infinite versions, which one would you like? You pick, you
yeah,
choose, but you
yeah,
have got to. It stops people being accountable. This is the problem with this. A psychic told me this means it's so disempowering. You've given your power away to somebody else. Can you see how that doesn't seem correct somehow? Can you understand that?
yeah,
And just it's just preying on your vulnerability, even if somebody's not doing it, by, that they're not knowing that they're doing that. It is really quite, preying on a vulnerable person looking for answers. And I've only learned that as I've experienced things as I've gone along as well. What about you,
yeah.
Rob?
Yeah, you're right. Vulnerability is really important
Mm,
because all sorts of people out there will harvest vulnerability
yeah. Mm,
for their own purpose, be it to enrich their own pocket or be it to have control. Yeah, and that goes from the top of governments and industry down to backstreet psychics.
yes,
And
yes.
it's not always done with intention, but it often is.
Mm, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And if you are going to work with a psychic, this is done with permissions. You
Yes.
give the psychic permission, and they give you permission. So it's shared permission to do this work
Yes.
together. No psychic can read without permission, or should read without permission. So if you want
Absolutely.
to follow a psychic on YouTube, say, who is very interested in reading about the royal family or American politics or world affairs, they do not have permissions to do that.
Yeah.
So all they will do is click in on a potential reality.
Yes.
Yeah,
Potential.
one outcome of 700 that could exist at this moment for that situation or that person they're reading about. But they don't have permission to do that, so they will never access the true reality of
Yeah.
what is coming or will happen to that situation.
Yeah.
And the same with us as individuals. If you don't give me the permission, I cannot read for you.
Mm.
And don't
Cannot
come
read the
to me at the
truth.
end of a reading and say, would you mind just reading on X, Y, or Z, usually the husband or boyfriend or
Mm.
whatever, And the honest answer is no, I can't,
Yeah.
because they have not granted me permission.
Yeah.
They've not requested a reading, and I have no business interfering in their affairs.
And this is where
So,
people feel that if I change this person, can you give me this reading because I want to change this person? There's something not
yeah,
right. And that is never what it is.
yeah,
It's understanding the responsibility and accountability in yourself and yourself only. You have to change yourself before anything happens in your outside world, before a partner changes or before a partner
yeah,
doesn't change, and that is entirely up to them. So it's not for anybody else to go reading into anybody else's energy field. Remember, it's like me coming to your house and opening the door without permission to come in. How does that feel? I'm just going to step in this, put my energy in here and have a look and have a nosy round at what's happening when you've not had permission.
yeah,
And that is exactly the same. In fact, even more so with somebody's personal energy space, somebody's personal quantum field. And so here we want to say that it really is entirely up to you. You, it's it's okay to go to a reader for you, somebody to read your energy field. Where you feel that you've got stuck, a lot of us healers and starseeds always feel stuck, and that's absolutely fine, because then we can show you where you're blocked. But you see how then you have accountability and responsibility to change those blocks yourself, and that's what it's all about.
yeah,
Because understanding that you have many options, many versions of you. You have, if you've wanted, you have that millionaire version of you. You also have the poverty stricken version of you that many healers feeling right now. And we can joke about that, because yes, all of these versions happen. But in order to get to the, say, millionaire version of you, the simplest answer to that, the simplest thing, is you have to match that frequency. And that is it. That's what's creating that world. Equally, when you're watching or listening to people creating predictions out there, can you see what I said there? Creating predictions. They'll say, oh, my guides have told me this and they're predicting this. Absolutely true. If it comes true, that's fine. But also know, next to this current version of what's happening in this world is also a version where it hasn't happened. It's just not in our conscious awareness at the time, but it is in existence. So it may be hard to get our heads around, but all the possibilities do exist around us. They're just in different frequencies, I want to say, in the same time and space, all carrying out their own worlds. There's another version of you doing something in another world, but your conscious awareness right now is you in your human form, in this lifetime, in this frequency. And it's about you. It's not about just needing to live your life in the same way, unfulfilled, but it's about understanding what you need to do, all whether it's called steps, which there aren't really any, but if you want to, most humans like to have steps. They like to, show me what the steps are, show me what all that, can you give me a list of what to do? And that's fine. But just remember, as source, as a God spark, you can have any version of yourself that you want. You just have to put your mind to it and then put action into it, into doing that.
yeah. He is putting the action in.
Yes.
So whoever you go to for help, trust them.
Mm.
Make sure you're finding someone who is authentic, and you'll feel that in your gut and in your heart. You will know if they're authentic and if they're the right person for you. And if you find someone who doesn't resonate with you, don't go there,
Mm.
because you will just be disempowered or disenfranchised in the process. And that's exactly the reverse of what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, couldn't be further from it. So by all means, seek out the help, seek out the right help, and then work with that help. And don't just sit back and expect miracles to happen, because they don't happen unless you put the effort in.
Mm.
So yeah, it's not a simple thing. It's not, the tent in the back of the garden fate with someone from the local WI having a go with the tarot cards.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's a bit of fun. Until you take it seriously.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the problem, is when you take it too seriously. And whatever you get from a tarot reading or a medium or whoever you see, just remember that those realities are possible but not absolutely guaranteed, and you can change them.
Yes.
Yeah,
See how empowering that feels when
yeah,
Rob said, you can change.
yeah,
You are the only one. You can
yeah.
change
You've got
what happens to
self-will.
your reality. What happens to your
Absolutely.
reality.
Absolutely. I always tell people who come to me for a reading, please remember that you have self-will, and we can do all this work, but if you don't want it to happen, it won't happen, and something else will. You can change anything, and you should change something. So if I give you a reading and perhaps there's things in it you think, oh, I don't really think I want energies to work that way for me, change it.
Yeah.
That's why you've come to me, to find those out. So change it. It's tremendous fun when you do it properly. And I won't take a reading that's less than an hour, because we are going to get to the bottom of this, and it's a kind of counseling session for me.
Yes. Yes.
And
Lovely.
if I've got the right client, we have tremendous fun, and we work out tremendous things together, and the client is then empowered to go and do what they want and make the changes they want. But always, 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 it's back to you.
Yeah.
I can tell you what's around you. I cannot tell you how to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
we're all unique, and we all have our own way of finding our truth.
Yeah.
So all I can do is kind of point you in the right direction and hope you find it.
Mm. I mean, I had some lovely sessions with a client. I think it was only about 3 in total, and it was actually over a year. And the client went from having no job whatsoever, very disempowered because they'd relied on somebody, and I think they got divorced and things. But and then I did do a reading and said, "Well, I do see you. This is how we work. I do see you actually having this job where you're." It really is. It's almost like a charity work. You're still getting paid for it. It's charity work, and you're helping others. You're helping other women, and I was just seeing it in the energy. And I said, I also see you doing a presentation on sort of on a on a podium, and seeing it to maybe 500 people. And this person could have easily said, "Oh no, that's not me. That's not my version of it. That's not. I don't want to do that." But this person took that on board over the course, so they took action. The next, I saw them the first time after saying that. The second time, they'd got a job, and it was doing some form. I don't know whether it was classed as charity work, but it was some form of helping. They were getting paid, but it was helping out other women. And then in the third session, by then they'd done some work and they were on a podium to, explaining. I think it was only to 10 people, but it was that, they took everything on board. They took action. We even had names coming through. So you get all those lovely synchronicities with things that are happening. They even asked for one job and got another one, which is something that's happened to me in the past when we talk about people saying, well, what we're not saying here is, well, you shouldn't go for being an astronaut because it's never going to happen. But if you don't go for being that astronaut, you might never know there's a job on ground level helping astronauts out. So see that as a metaphor. Because we do a lot of that with children. We predict, we do predict children's lives. But what was lovely was this client just took on board everything, did not question anything apart from to go, do you know what? This is what I'm going to do. This is going to be my version of me. And it was just, I mean, it was wonderful to see it all unfold, but it unfolded over a year, with, so many months they would shift a little bit, another few months, shift another bit in their career, and found friends that they'd never had, went to the gym finally, everything absolutely unfolded, but it was all because they empowered themselves. They took their power back after the very first session when they're just completely disempowered, completely vulnerable, didn't know what to do. So this is how it can change you, isn't it? It's wonderful to see that.
Absolutely, yeah. And simple process: find the right person for you. enjoy the process and then act on the process.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you disagree with it, absolutely fine.
No problem.
Then choose your own future
Mm.
because you can.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whatever you want. Mm. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Please subscribe, like, follow us, all of
Share.
those. Share,
Yeah.
definitely share with anyone else you feel would benefit from this. We just want to share with the world, all the things we know. If you have any questions, please let us know. If you want us to talk about anything on these podcasts, please let us have some themes. We're so interested in what other people want to know. And if you'd like to work with us, our websites, information, emails are all listed below. Lovely. We'll see you next week.
Bye
Goodbye
then.
for now.